And now to finish off by graphing. Take all the information we've gained so far and try to create some kind of reasonable graph for this function. All right, I'm going to scale the bottom according to some standard radian values, because I know that's what we've been using throughout the rest of the problem for x, because of that sine function to start with. So maybe something like pi on 4, and I know we're going to end up pi on 2, so I'll just have pi on 2 be over there. I have negative pi on 4 here, and negative pi on 2 over here. So that'll be the extent of the graph, negative pi on 2 to pi on 2. And I'll just go down negative 1, negative 2. I have a feeling that this should be sufficient. If not, I'll adjust it a little bit. So what did we have? So the important information we had from the first derivative was the function was increasing. We said it was increasing on negative pi on 3 to pi on 3. It was decreasing from negative pi on 2 to negative pi on 3. And pi on 3 to pi on 2, which was also giving us some relative extrema at, let's recall here, negative pi on 3, negative 2 pi plus 3 root 3 on 6, pretty wild numbers here, and then pi on 3, and the positive version of that y value we just mentioned. All right, so at negative pi on 3, somewhere over here between negative pi on 4 and negative pi on 2, I'm not going to make it, it doesn't have to be too precise, but over here at negative pi on 3, I'm just trying to sketch that in a little bit. And then oppositely over here, pi on 3, we have relative extrema. So let's look at the size of this y value here. 2 pi plus 3 root 3. So 2 pi is very close to 6, a little bit above 6. 3 root 3 should be, what? Should be below 6. So the two of them together are around 12, but probably less than 12. All right, probably less than 12, according to my estimates that I'm doing in my head right now. So, so a little less than 12 on 6 is a little bit less than 2. So negative, a little bit less than 2. So again, this is just a sketch, so maybe somewhere over here. We know this is a relative minimum, is what we said before. Okay, so I'm going to draw something that looks like it's a minimum here, something like that. Now oppositely, across the origin here, we should have the same setup over here, but this will be a local max. Again, pi on 3, comma, something around a value of 2 should be oppositely over here. And the reason I know it's opposite the origin in this sense is because the original function x plus sine of 2x, which was our function, if I remember, is an odd function, okay? All right, so we should have a relative max over here. Something looks like this going on. All right, so that takes care of the decreasing scenario for the most part. It's going to be decreasing towards here. It's going to be increasing through here and up to this location and decreasing back down again at the end, right? Okay, so where does it actually start though? So negative pi on 2, right, into the original function, f of negative pi on 2 would be negative pi on 2 plus what? Sine of 2 times negative pi on 2. But that's sine of negative pi. Sine of negative pi is 0. So this just reads negative pi on 2. Okay. So corresponding to the negative pi on 2x value should be a negative pi on 2y value. Okay, over here. So negative pi on 2, well, if we estimate pi about 3, it's over 3 of course, but around 3, it'd be around 3 halves, around negative 1.5. right? It should be a little bit more than that on the negative end, right? Because pi is a little bit bigger than 3. So we should go down a little bit further here than negative 1.5, just to get some kind of value here to start with, right? So that's a closed dot heading towards our relative minimum, and then we're going to sweep up here. And right after this, right, we know it's decreasing here. That was this information. So decreasing from this location until the relative minimum. And now after that, it's going to start to increase from negative pi on 3 to pi on 3. Okay? So increasing here until this location. But we also know that the concavity, we're concave up on negative pi on 2 to 0, and concave down after that from 0 to pi on 2.